let's go more into some of these tools that you're talking about. And for you, Shauna, like what were things you discovered? What were some of those key elements that started to create a healthy environment in your marriage and create freedom for the long haul?
Did
Yeah.
you say start with you?
Sure. Yeah, well, I know that, I mean, just what comes to mind initially is the faster scale. I think that for me was, and Josh, but it was like, I think that's actually what was the baby step. I think I listened to your guys' podcast on that. So that opened the door to this podcast, which was also an amazing resource for me early on. Before I had joined a group, I was able to just kind of binge on your guys'
And you said join the group. You joined a Betrayal
Oh yeah,
and Beyond
I did.
group.
I eventually joined a Betrayal and Beyond group, which was amazing. But before that, I had done a lot, like listened to, I don't know, tons of the episodes that were just so eye-opening for me, because it helped me to just continue down the path of realizing that maybe I'm not manifesting in the same way, or like my coping mechanism doesn't look the same as Josh's, but I too get on the faster scale. I too have coping mechanisms. I hit relapse, whether it's binge eating late at night or, scrolling on my phone or whatever. It was just the eye-opening moment for me. I mean, moments. It was a time of life where I was learning so much, and my mind was just being kind of renewed and And then of course the group was really powerful too. There's different elements that were just healing, because like being in a group with other women and seeing like there were beautiful women in my group. And so that alone was like, okay, all of these women are here. They're beautiful. Men are married to them, and they're obviously not the reason that their husbands are struggling. So that just helped me to like affirm what Josh had always told me, that it wasn't like me and my body. It wasn't like he never wanted me to see it as a personal issue, but as a woman, that's a very natural feeling and reaction. So that was healing in itself, just sitting in a room with other women. So lots of things were pivotal, but I would say learning about the faster scale, having it become more personal to me, and realizing like Josh is a human, a sinful human, and so am I.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, all of the tools are so good. I'll have conversations with especially younger guys who first get into group, and then they'll tell me, oh, it's not going very well, or different things. And I say, well, are you making your phone calls every week? No, we don't really do phone calls. What? How do you do it without the phone calls? And then like the double bind, what's the double bind again? I always get confused by that one. It's like the double bind is like what I live in. I live in the world which is full of double binds.
Yeah.
And if I can just talk about the double bind for a second, is now I feel like I have to explain it. Can you explain it really quick, and then I'll riff off of that?
Sure. A double bind, a really easy way to say it is like a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation.
I didn't want to cuss. That was my real problem.
That's fine. That's fine.
Glad we got that out there.
Yeah, but that's not swearing. It's like damning something to hell is not, Josh.
Well,
goodness gracious.
To each his own.
Well,
So, okay,
you
so
go.
you
now we have to put the explicit tag
this.
on this episode, Josh. Thanks a lot. Go ahead.
So because I already said penis earlier, so never mind. We can cut all this out, right?
Nope,
going.
we are keeping it in.
Okay, so the double bind, you have this thing where something is in your life that you don't want to have to face. And you don't want to have to face it, because whatever you do, you're going to have to face a consequence or a problem from it. And whether that's having a conversation with your wife about restrictions on your phone, that's a double bind, because I want restrictions on my phone. But if I don't talk to her about it, then who's going to put the restrictions on my phone? Or, I mean, there's a million double binds. And all of those, the word that kind of comes back is procrastination. And that was the thing for me is, in my life, if I have a lot of that going on in my life, I start to ramp up on that faster scale. And if I can manage procrastination and deal with my double binds, and that's just dealing with life, like that's just being healthy, paying your bills on time, and doing these basic things you wouldn't think are related to sexual addiction, but end up being a bigger deal than trying to bat away a temptation or like a rubber band trick thing. trying these little hacks when, you know, you actually have to deal with your life and know where you are and kind of a little bit about where you're going. And the tools are really, really helpful to do that.
What I think so interesting about the answers we get to this question is they are tools, but it's not like I want to be careful with this. Like, it's not that I was tempted sitting at my computer at 12:30 at night to watch porn and masturbate, and I prayed really hard and then things got better. Like, there are tools that are very holistic. Like, there are tools that, using the double bind, understanding that it's not just that I'm a sexual person and that I have temptations that causes me to pursue porn and masturbation, and like just being around other people, you know, who are beautiful people that have husbands too, like that in and of itself was healing. But that's not like choosing to not freak out at your husband for relapsing again. Like, that's so different. I just think it's so interesting because this question, we're looking for those like silver bullet things. And one of the things I've heard Nick say a lot, and I'm probably going to butcher it, so if you'd like to just take it and run with it, you can. But that idea that like, if you have to repair a ship, don't do it in the middle of a storm. Do it before you even set out to sea. And that idea of knowing that there are things that lead you down the faster scale to then get to relapse, because knowing that, okay, this thing that happened, this double bind I had to face, I didn't do it, and now I feel shame about it, which means I'm procrastinating in other things, which makes you feel more shame, which makes me isolate, and then, And so it's just all connected. And that's what I love about really the whole process is that it's so connected with all aspects of who we are.
But initially it's hard to make those connections.
Totally.
Like, impossible
100%.
to make those connections.
100%. Yes.
And now being on the other side of that, I see it everywhere that I am. I feel like a psychoanalyst because, you know, I mean, you guys have experienced this. Somebody walks in and you're like, yeah, I've got to read on this person because all of those things are
I'm doing it right now.
Those patterns. Yeah.
Just
it's you. Yeah. It's you, Trevor.